Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. In case you are new here, my name is Sarah. I am an artist and I make little fiber notions and such for like little stitch markers and buttons, what have you. And well, I like knitting and sharing that here on YouTube. Today, I am sharing my goals for my making for the year 2025. I am not like a New Year's resolution type person because I know the moment I say, I'm gonna do this, I won't do it. I don't think I've ever, like, I mean, I know like everybody out there is like, I'm setting a New Year's resolution, and the joke is, you know, weeks or a month later, you give up. I don't even make it to day one. I make a goal, and then day one comes around and I say, I don't want to do that. So I like to have like more general like things I'd like to do throughout the year versus I have this thing and I'm going to do it consistently, because I won't do it consistently. So I'm going to kind of go through some of my goals for my making, and then I'll share a couple of like personal ones at the end in case you're interested. Some of you are probably like, no thanks. But for the making side of it, I have a few things I would like to make happen. First one up is using up some of my stash. I don't have an enormous stash, but it is probably the biggest it's ever been. I ended up buying a fair amount of yarn at the end of last year, kind of like in the fall time. There were sales and there were things that I've had sitting in my carts for a while, and I bought them. And then they all kind of arrived at the same time, and I was like, wow, I've got a lot of yarn. And I'm normally the type of person where I don't impulse buy yarn. I'm usually add it to my cart, let it marinate for a month or two, take it out of my cart, put it back in my cart, think on it a little more, and then maybe purchase. So the fact that I got all that yarn at once is just, apparently, I wanted to buy all the yarn at once. And it's okay because a lot of it was on sale, and it's all yarn that I'm very excited about using this year. Alongside my using up stash is a goal which I have to chuckle at myself for, because I usually chuckle at other people when they say this. I'm gonna be doing a no buy January, which we're in the midst of at the moment. Now, I laugh a little bit at people because I'm like, why do you restrict yourself like this? Like, why? The moment you say don't buy something, you're going to want to buy all the things. I mean, not everybody's like that, but I know I'm like that. When I say don't do this, I want to do it. I wouldn't call myself a rebellious person, but I have a little rebellious streak. I don't like being told what to do. Even when I tell myself to do something, I apparently don't like it. However, this no buy January is not just for me and yarn. It's actually for my husband and I. We're doing it together, and the plan is to kind of bleed the no buy January into February, March, keep it going as long as we can, just to create healthier spending practices, mainly because we ended up unfortunately having to have a very large purchase at the beginning of the year. It was not exactly something we were planning on for the beginning of this year, but we had to do it. So now it's like, okay, let's save our pennies a little bit better so we can put money towards this large purchase. Now, normally, again, I don't like being told what to do, but so far, I've had no problem with it. I even went to the grocery store today. Like, we're being strict about this. And I was going down the aisle, was like, ooh, I could buy this thing. Ooh, I could buy that thing. And was like, no, you don't need this. You don't need it, so don't buy it. And I was fine with it. I didn't feel upset about it. I was like, yeah, that's right, I don't need it. And honestly, I'm not feeling the need to buy any yarn. I have a really beautiful stash, and I'm very excited to make with the things that I have currently. So, I feel like a no buy can be like an unhealthy thing, is like where it's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna break this rule. But I'm feeling very healthy and good about this no buy. But again, it's not just for my yarn, it's for life. Because life hucked stuff at us, and we just kind of had to go, okay, let's do this. I know that kind of bled into a little bit of personal goals, but they're kind of one and the same. So yeah, no buying. I also would like to finish up some projects. I have a few things going at the moment. Not a ton, like it's not like I have a ton of languishing whips, but I do have quite a few projects. If you want to see all of the projects I'm currently working on, like even the ones that I'm not really working on, my last projects video from last week, I showed it all, except for one that I found later on. And I don't remember what it was, but I found it the other day and was like, oh, I didn't show this on the podcast. Well, I don't remember what it is, so it must be a really important project. But I would like to finish up what I currently have on the needles just to wrap up 2024, get it done with, move on to new and shiny things, because there are so many things I want to work on. I also want to fix some of my current like finished things that I'm not wearing because of specific reasons. And I think there's only one off the top of, no, there's two. There's two items that I definitely want to fix. One is my Soho my Soho top or cami. It'll be on the screen. By Kadri. I knit this up. It's beautiful. I end up over dyeing it. However, the armholes are too deep. They're too deep. I am pretty positive it was a gauge issue. I could not meet that row gauge. It just was not happening. I was getting the stitch gauge, but I couldn't get the row gauge. So my armholes ended up being a little too deep, and I could have fixed that by doing a smaller I-cord, like picking up fewer stitches around the armhole, but I didn't. So they're a little deep. So I have some elastic that I plan on threading through, and I just haven't gotten to that. So I'd like to do that. That way I can wear that top again this year. I actually grabbed this one. This is my Alvar pullover by Sari Nordlund. Now, this was not my favorite project to work on. I had a lot of struggles with it. That's beside the point. The point is, my neck is way too small. I picked up too few stitches apparently, and I can just get it over my head. It hurts to get it over my head. And then when it's on, it's not like tight squeezing my neck, obviously, because I can get it over my head, but it just feels too close and it makes me feel a little claustrophobic. So I have more of this yarn. I plan on pulling out the neck and redoing it because I would like to wear this. I like the texture. I want to see once I pull out the neck if it ends up lengthening my sleeves a little, because the sleeves are just a hair short. So if it does not end up lengthening the sleeves, I may end up also lengthening the sleeves. But we'll see. We'll see how I feel once I fix the neck. Who knows? Now let's talk about all the things like I want to make in 2025. Now I don't have specific patterns in mind necessarily. There are some patterns that I currently have in my pattern library, I guess you could say, aka my Google Drive. And they're ones that I like and wouldn't mind actually making. So we'll see though. I don't want to put myself in a box and say, these are the patterns you have to make this year. Because again, I don't like being told what to do. And if I say I have to make this, I won't enjoy making it. That kind of happened with this cardigan, which is my Calm Down cardigan by Lily Kate Makes. It is a beautiful cardigan, and I'm so happy that I made this cardigan. But it was one of those where I wanted the finished thing, and I was like, you have to make this. And I hated every moment of it. I did not enjoy knitting this cardigan, but I'm very happy I have it. But if I tell myself you need to make these patterns, then I won't want to. So I know I'm a little ridiculous. I say a little rebellious streak, maybe it's a little more than that. Anyways, the things I for sure want to make is a scarf. I want another scarf. I have one scarf that I've made. Yeah, well, that's not entirely true. I have a couple of crocheted, like super bulky scarves that I made back when, you know, I was making all the big extra chunky things that everybody else was making. So I have, I think, one cowl and maybe, no, I think I got rid of everything else. I think I just have one cowl left. And then I have a scarf that I knit, which is the Solo scarf by Kadri, and I love it. I find with short hair, my neck gets very cold, and I wear that scarf all the time. So I would like to have another scarf just for some variety. Now I do have a yarn that I think I'll make it out of. However, it's a brown, and my other scarf is a brown. So I'm undecided on that. I don't know if I would mind having two brown scarves, or I really want a blue scarf. But the blue yarn I have in stash is definitely gonna be for sweaters. Ooh, actually, I'm having some thoughts. This is why talking out loud about some of these things is good, because then it gets my brain turning, and I just had a thought about a blue yarn that I have that I could maybe make a scarf out of, because originally I bought it for a sweater, but then decided I didn't want that sweater, and then was going to make a like shawl thing out of it, and then I didn't love that idea, but maybe a scarf would be good. We'll see. Ideas floating. I would also really like to put in a fair amount of like time and work and focus on my blanket. I normally don't knit a blanket faster than like 2, 3, 4 years. Blankets take me forever, unless it's like a baby blanket. A baby blanket, I can whip one of those out in a month. But usually I'm also like knitting, it's way smaller, and it's usually on bigger needles than like the blankets I've been making for myself. This one is a DK weight blanket, and it's gonna be big. So I don't know if it'll actually happen, but I would maybe like to have that done by this next winter, because I'm just loving the colors so much. I would love to have it in my living room and be able to curl up under it. So I'd like to put in a bit more energy and time. I want to work on it constantly. For my wardrobe, the garments, etc., which garments just means sweaters and tops. I've never made a bottom before. I would like to make a bottom at some point in the future, but I haven't seen the project that I've been like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. Now I wouldn't mind, this is a complete tangent, I wouldn't mind like a super oversized, a voluminous, like wide ribbed pair of knit pants. The thing though is, that would be a lot of knitting, because I have long legs. Like, I've got a short torso, long legs. And of course I wouldn't want them to be like worsted weight. Like, they'd have to be like a light DK sport, maybe even a fingering. And the idea of knitting 2 gigantic long legs just sounds not like fun. But the idea of it is nice. Maybe someday when I've made all the sweaters I want to make, I will make myself a pair of bottoms. But anyways, when I say garments, I mean cardigans, sweaters, short sleeve, tank tops, things like that. Though I don't like short sleeves very much. Not knit ones. But I like tank top knit things. Don't ask me the logic behind it. I have no answer. My goal for that though is not specific patterns. It's like a feeling I want to create in my wardrobe. I want a very wearable wardrobe. I have found that a lot of times I look at my wardrobe and I see the sweaters and I think wearing them out. Like, they're for wearing places and to see people, not for like being comfortable in. So I want to have more sweaters that feel casual and comfortable. I am aiming for this vibe that I'm like, I keep picturing in my mind. It's comfy chic. I want to look cute, but I want to be comfortable, darn it. I just want to curl up in a sweater like a sweatshirt. I want more sweatshirt like sweaters. I wear a lot of sweatshirts. I have quite a few in my wardrobe and I love them. So I want sweaters like that, which means I need to be more oversized. I have a tendency to knit things too small. Usually that's because my gauge is a little too tight, and I'm like, it's fine. It's not going to bother me. And usually it works out and it fits nice. But if I want something more oversized, I need to just like, I need to realize I need to knit it bigger. Because I'm always like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And it usually is. Again, I still wear the things, but I want more oversized cozy because that's how I wear my sweatshirts. I size up my sweatshirts. I never buy the size that I am. I usually go up a size or two because I like them to be big. That's just what I like to wear. I don't usually like to wear a ton of fitted things. She says wearing a fitted t-shirt. I did not ask for your opinion. Yes, so more oversized things, more comfy, chic, casual, cozy things in my wardrobe. I also would like to add more color. I have a lot of beige, black, and gray. I have a lot of that, especially in my sweaters. I noticed there's a lot of gray and there's a lot of like beige, especially a beige. So I just want to have more color. Now, that does not mean I'm going to start knitting with bright rainbow colors because I want to knit with colors that I'm actually going to wear. Will I wear a hot pink sweater? Heck to the no. I don't like pink. I don't like pink. I think it looks fabulous on other people, but it's not for me. I would feel so uncomfortable wearing a hot pink sweater. I would be like, oh my gosh, everybody's looking at me. And that makes me uncomfortable. So I want to knit with more color, but in colors that are wearable for me, like brown. Now, some of you are like, brown's not a color, it's a neutral. Well, brown is a color to me. This is color. This is not color. This is not color. This is color. More browns. I have a lot of like blue things, not knitted blue things, but I have a lot of blue things in my wardrobe, specifically denim. I like denim. And I've got some green. Green has become my favorite color through the years, and I've added it to my wardrobe. I love wearing green, specifically that like olive, foresty, army green, some like, I don't want to say muddy greens, but like greens that aren't like bam, neon green, in your face, Kelly green, and none of that. Like I'm talking about nice soft greens, foresty greens, greens that scream Pacific Northwest, I guess. Like my green wall. I love that green. That is a stunning green. I would like to wear that green. You want to know the great thing about wanting to knit with more color this year? Most of my stash is color. Not all of it, but a good amount of it is color, and it's making me all sorts of happy. So let me show you some of that colored yarn that I would like to work with. Now, will I work with all of this yarn this year? Maybe, maybe not, who knows? I'm not gonna be like strict about it, but I've got some tanny browns. I've got this Fabulous Drops Paris that I'd like to turn into like a summer top of some kind because it's a cotton and I think it'd look fabulous. Oh, I've got this beautiful like caramelly brown from ZZ Textiles. This will be striped in with a neutral color because, well, I don't have any stripes. So I'm thinking a stripe would be fabulous. So this will be joining my wardrobe at some point. I'm very excited about it. Now, this was the yarn that I suddenly had an epiphany about, maybe knitting a scarf out of. This is Drop Saffron. It is a cotton, so it wouldn't make for the coziest scarf in the world, but it would definitely keep the wind off of my neck, because it's not like we live in a very cold place. Like, we live in the very gray, gloomy Pacific Northwest. Like right now, there is sun out there. We just can't see it because it is behind a veil of fog. Why does my area do this to us? And it's specifically the area that we live in. We live in a convergence zone, I guess, is what it's called. Yeah, you drive a few miles north of us. I mean, by a few, I mean like 30 minutes north of us. It's sunny. I went to my sister's the other day. She lives about 40 minutes north of me, and I'm driving and I'm like, ugh, it's so gray and gross. And then I'm driving and I'm like, oh, it's kind of clearing up. And then I get out to her place and it is the most gorgeous sunny day you've ever seen. Anyways, I digress. A cotton scarf wouldn't be the worst thing to have here because it doesn't get particularly cold. I mean, it's cold today, it's in the 30s, but that's about as cold as it gets. And on a 30s day, I could wear my other scarf. But on like a medium-ish day, like when we're in the 40s and maybe 50s. I don't think in the 50s I'd wear a scarf. That's not too cold. But in the 40s, maybe I'd wear a cotton scarf. I don't know, just an idea that's floating around suddenly. Okay, now moving on, I have this yarn. This yarn, I'm so excited about. I am wanting to knit a very 90s sweater. It's gonna be textured and fabulous. I'm planning on probably just making up the pattern, but this blue is gonna be amazing. It's gonna be so oversized, cozy, comfy. It's gonna be the dream. This blue yarn from Hobbii, but oh, the other one was from Hobbii too. Sorry, the other one was Amigo, but it was like the extra large. This is just the Amigo. I love this blue. It is absolutely freaking fantabulous. I don't know what sweater I'm gonna make with this yet. I had briefly thought of reworking up my Malway tweet pattern to make it like fix it and make it better than it was before. However, then I was like, I don't want to write. Honestly, I just don't want to do that. And then I was like, okay, well maybe I'll like knit one of these other sweater patterns. And then I'm like, but I like the way my other Malway tweet patterns fits. Maybe I will knit that. And then last night I was thinking, oh, this pattern would be really pretty in this yarn. So I don't know what this one's going to become yet, but it's going to become a sweater that's oversized and comfy, and it's going to be amazing. I just don't know what it's going to be yet. And then we have some green. So this is Drops Merino Extra Fine, and it's this lovely green. I cannot wait to make this into a sweater. It's going to be a drop shoulder. It's going to have a double knit rolled collary thing that I can't remember what that neckline is called at the moment because my brain broke. I don't know why it's done that to me, but I can see it, and it's gonna be amazing. So comfortable, and in my favorite color. I don't have a sweater in my favorite color. This is a problem and needs to be rectified. So that's my goal for as far as like the wardrobe aspect, just being more intentional about it, making things that I know I'm gonna wear. Not that I'm really bad about that. Like I wear a lot of my stuff, but I want it to be more wearable. Like I wear the things, but it's like I said, when I go out or when I'm doing things, it's not like for me, I guess. Like they're for me, but you know, it's for doing things. I want them for me to be comfortable in. So that's my goal. Be more intentional about making things to be comfortable in. I also would like to try some new things this year. One of them being, I want to try doing a toe-up sock. I've not done one before. I want to make lots of socks. I'm currently in the midst of the sock knitting. I want to knit socks, which that comes and goes. There are times where I'm like, oh, socks. But right now I'm wanting to make socks. But I want to try a new construction, and I want to try toe-up. When that will happen, I don't know. What pattern? I don't know. Because I'll need a pattern because I've never knit a toe-up sock. So I'm going to need to learn how to do that. But that's the thing, I want to learn how to do that. I'm excited about it. I don't know what yarn I'm going to use, but I want to make it happen at some point. I also would like to try a new cast-on method. I've heard, there's a few of them. I think it's Old Norwegian cast-on that I've been very curious about. Is there an Italian cast-on? There's been a few that I've heard people talk about, and I'm like, that sounds very interesting, and I would like to try that. I don't know, I just am intrigued by trying some new techniques this year. I'm not going to plan on going crazy. I don't plan on learning a ton of new things, but just sprinkling a few new things in there, and getting over my I don't want to learn this phase, because I have a tendency to be like, it's going to take me so long to learn this. It never does take me very long to learn the things, but it's the fear of it taking a long time that holds me back from learning this stuff, which is ridiculous. Because once I learn it, it's like, oh, that was easy. That was no problem. And if it's not easy, well then I don't have to do it. It's fine. It's a hobby. I can make whatever I want to make and learn what I want to learn, and etc. Anyways, I'm getting rambly. I'm a little rambly today. I would love to learn to spin on a spinning wheel. I really enjoy my drop spindle, but I would like to learn how to on a wheel. I would also like to buy a wheel this year. It's not gonna happen anytime soon because again, we're saving them pennies, but I'm thinking maybe later this year, maybe as a special treat to myself, like after a restock, or maybe after I do a show, if I do shows this year. I don't know. I would like to. I'm not like saying I'm gonna make it happen this year, but it's something I'd like to make happen. If it doesn't happen, then all right, maybe 2026 will be the year. But I would love for it to be a 2025 thing, but we'll see. So overall, for the year, my goal with my making is just to be more intentional. Using the stash, making specific projects to fit needs, like a scarf, like my blanket, and wardrobe items that fit that comfy, casual, chic vibe that I'm aiming for. Intentional. I guess if I could give myself a word for the year, it would be that. However, I'm also really bad about selecting a word for the year because I usually forget what the word is. But maybe I'll remember this one because it's something I'm constantly reminding myself of this year. How about we dive into a few personal things? Now, if this doesn't interest you, I completely understand. And well, if you enjoyed all the making content, please like and subscribe to catch other content. I have a few videos coming up that I'm pretty excited about. We'll see if they end up happening because life is chaotic always, but I have some ideas floating around, so make sure you subscribe to catch future things, like projects videos even. I have some fun things that I'm working on, and I'm so close to finishing one of them. I cannot wait to share with you because it's so good. So anyways, let's go ahead and move into the few personal goals I have for 2025. The first one you kind of already heard about, which is the no buy, not just with the making stuff, but with the personal things, okay, do we need like all the extra snacks in the house? Which then helps with like eating healthier, you know? And like, okay, like there's this thing on Amazon, sure, it'd be nice to have, but let's maybe save it for later. And then in a few months, if I still like want it, then maybe. But chances are if you've lived a few months without it, you probably don't need it. So that's just where we're at with the no buy. We'll see how long we go with that, but as of right now, we're doing pretty good. One thing I really want to do more of is just making more food at home. Now, it's not that we don't, like when you hear that, you probably think, oh, they must eat out. No, like just making some of the things that we buy to eat, making them at home. So the other day, I made tortillas. I made homemade tortillas, and they were delicious. And well, they were cheaper, they tasted better, they had less gunk in them because, you know, they like to throw in all the processed stuff that you don't need. And then I made like fish tacos, and it was delicious, and it was healthy, and it was good. So, and then like yesterday or day before, I made homemade crumpets. Yes, I know, I'm channeling my inner British, it's fine. It's so easy. I thought it was gonna be so complicated. Before the beginning of this year, I bought the like crumpet English muffin rings. And yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, there's gonna be so many steps to this. And I was so intimidated by it. But then it's like a pancake batter, but with yeast. And you just like let it rise for a little bit. And then you like put it in your pan. It was so easy. Now I did fail a little bit. They didn't turn out exactly how I wanted them to, but I know what I've done wrong, and the next time I can improve on that. So things like that could like potentially, you know, just be healthier for us to have it like made at home, or maybe save money. And I don't know, just being again more intentional, I guess, with our food. Now I'm not being super strict about that, like, because honestly, there are some days where I just need to throw a frozen corn dog in the oven for the kids. That's it. We're calling that balance. I'm not always going to have the mental capacity to plan out all the meals or have the time to cook all the homemade things, etc. So I'm like leaving that, like, I'd like to make this happen. If it doesn't happen, I'm not being like, I'm not gonna get upset at myself that I didn't make it happen. But it's a goal. We're gonna try and make it happen a little more often, a few more homemade things. This week, I wanna make some homemade granola. I like homemade granola. A few a month ago, 2 months ago, something like that, I made homemade yogurt, and it was really good. So I'm going to make some more homemade yogurt. I have to go buy the milk, though, and a little thing of yogurt to get started. But, you know, things like that, especially with kids that eat a lot of food. My kids are very hungry children. They eat so much food. Oh, my goodness. And they, like, are so petite, and it's like, where are you putting all of this food? But, yeah, so making more things at home. I've been enjoying it so far. So far, I've liked spending my time that way. I think it's been really good, not just like for like the budget and for the health thing, but it's almost been good mentally. Like, I've been enjoying being in the kitchen, which has been a while since I've enjoyed being in the kitchen. So I'm riding that like high of enjoyment now while it's there, because later on this year it might not be there and we might be living off of cereal and frozen corn dogs. I would like to scroll less. I have made that a goal of mine, to just not be mindlessly scrolling on my phone as often. I find it's not helpful. It's not mentally engaging enough. It doesn't satisfy my need for like mental engagement. So I am trying to be better about that. And so far I've been pretty good, not perfect. Again, not getting upset at myself if I fail. But I've been pretty good, actually. Now, one could say, well, Sarah, that kind of sounds like a New Year's resolution, to be on your phone less. Well, it kind of is, but it's kind of not. Because if I don't label it as that, then it's not that. But it's been good. I have found, like, watching a video on my phone has helped with that. Because then I can't be scrolling on my phone, because a lot of times I'd use my laptop to watch a YouTube video, and then rather than sitting and knitting or doing something else, I'd be scrolling on my phone while watching a video. So I've started watching videos on my phone, and then I find myself knitting during that time instead, which is good. And then I've also, like, if I'm feeling the need for mindless screen time, I have found a video game for the computer called Tiny Glade, which has been my favorite. It is literally just cutesy building buildings. That is all it is. There's no collecting resources. There's no anything else. It's just like this tiny little plot of land you get, and you can build little little towns or castles or what have you. I've been enjoying that. It has been such a relaxing thing to do. And I feel like it builds, uses that creative muscle instead of just scrolling. But it's also mindless at the same time, somehow. It's good. I want to make more art this year. Last year, I did not do a whole lot of art. Like, hardly at all. I didn't paint much. I didn't draw much. And one of the reasons is I felt the need to record myself painting something or drawing something so I would have content for YouTube. Well, then I wouldn't want to do that, so then I just wouldn't paint or draw. Because if I couldn't record it, then I shouldn't do it, right? So I'm telling myself that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You don't need to make content. If you just want to make art, just make the art. And it's a silly thing, and a lot of you are probably like, Sarah, just paint. Like, why? I know, but when you become a content creator and it becomes part of your business and making money, not that my art YouTube makes any money because I have like no subscribers. If you want to go check out my art YouTube, I've got a few videos over there. I would like to put up more videos, but I'm not going to say, unless you're going to record it. Like, if you're going to paint, then you need to record it. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to paint, and then I get in the habit of painting, and then guess what? Then I'll want to start recording it. So, I want to make more art. And for fun. Not just for businessy things. I want to get back into enjoying that, like, that time of creating. Well, I feel like that was very long and rambly, and probably didn't need to be nearly as long or as rambly, but you know, again, I'm feeling a little chatty today, apparently. So, if you've made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. I would love to know any goals that you have for 2025, or resolutions. If you're a resolution type person and you're like committed to that, let me know what those are. Do you have a word for the year? What's your word? I love when people tell me their words for the year. I think they're really cool. Again, I just always like forget like, it's not a thing that like I focus in on. But I've kind of thought maybe intentional. But again, I'll get partway through the year and not even think about it, or I'll have a new word, which I can do that. I could change halfway through the year. There's no rule surrounding this. So anyways, let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are, your goals are, your resolutions, your words for the year 2025. What those are. Put them down below. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe to get new content, you know, that stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.